Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of a relationship. You guys, it all starts with the core self-love. If you can treat yourself like a king and the queen that you are and respect yourself, other people are going to respect you and you are going to attract the best of the best. Really just starts with getting to the roots, the nitty gritty. These are things that I focus on. These are things that I help my clients overcome. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please hit the link in my bio. I have one sessions that we can just work together one-on-one, one time. Or if you want to do the full package to really see some transformation, hit that link, book a discovery call. I'm ready for you. Let's fucking go. I have like this boob sweat, so you're gonna have to just bear with me. It's really hot out. I've been sitting outside FaceTiming a new boo. Before we even get into the episode, I have a bit of a story time. I don't know why I didn't even say this last time. I know you guys are sick and tired of me talking about London, but guess what? I'm going back. I'm going back to London in 3 weeks, maybe 2 by now, and I'm gonna live there for a month and see how I like it. If I like it a lot, I might just stay the rest of the year, but I do have a return flight coming home like mid-November for like Thanksgiving. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving there, so that's kind of depressing, and I do love Thanksgiving. I love being around my family and just like eating. So I have a return flight, but if I really do like it, I might just stay. My life, I got a story time for you before we even hop into it. My life is a romantic comedy, I swear to God. I don't know why, again, I didn't share this one before because this was the London trip story. Tell me how this shit happened to me. And then the week that I come back to America, back to Florida, I watched this movie, and why can't I think of the name of it? Love at First Sight. That's what I watched immediately upon coming back. And obviously I watched the movie, and I had to book another flight. But the irony of this story is that my entire 9-hour trip to London fell in love on the plane as well. And if you guys are not familiar with the story, this girl is an American. She falls in love with this guy from London. They meet on an airline in New York, and then they have the whole like flight together, and then they end up falling in love. Spoiler alert, but we all knew it was coming, obviously. It's a fucking rom-com. Watched that and I'm like, oh my God, this is way too familiar. Went on my flight to London. I was, maybe drinking a little more than I should have before my flight, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep this red eye away. I need a couple glasses of Chardonnay, and then I'm going to sit my ass on this plane and I'm going to have a fabulous flight. Meanwhile, the social butterfly in me comes out because whenever I drink, I am the type of like tipsy. I don't get drunk anymore. I don't do that. I haven't been drunk in a really long time. But tipsy me, I turn into the most social butterfly. I walk up to anyone, I'll talk to anyone. I was talking to everyone. I literally talked to every single person on that flight at some point, I feel like. When we were checking in, we had met this guy behind us. His name was Nico. Super cool guy. I don't know why I just gave you his name. I don't even we don't have contact anymore, so that kind of sucks. He was just like a really cool guy. We met him when we were like checking our bags in, and I was like, hey, like, want to hang out with us? Want to come drink with us? And he's like, sure. So I brought him along with my friends, and he was part of our group at that point. I left him because we had access to the lounge, so I dumped him on one of my other friends. I'm like, he's your problem now, figure it out. And he just became like our fucking guy. Fast forward, I'm like chatting with everyone in the lines. I'm talking to some girl from London, and we want to switch lives and like have it be this like whole thing. Before I even get on the flight, we all check our tickets. Obviously the very first thing you do is look at your seat. Where are you sitting? Right? And then I look at my flight, and I am on the very last seat in the very back of the plane. And when I tell you, why does this always happen to me? I'm literally always in the back of the plane. Like, I feel like every single airport has my name in their system as make sure this girl is on the very fucking back. I don't know what it is, but I'm always in the back of the plane. I'm pissed about it because all of my friends are either in first class or they're like in the middle of the plane together, sitting, enjoying their time. And I'm like, what did I do wrong to deserve this? But change of events, it all actually ended up happening really well. I'm so glad that I was sitting in the back of the plane because I tried to change my flight. The girl at the counter was giving me the fattest attitude. And I'm like, I do not need this. I'm just going to sit my ass back, lean against the fucking wall, and we're going to call it a day. So I sit back in my seat, lovely couple from London sitting next to me, and I start to make chit chat with them. And they're like, oh, we do not want to fucking talk to you. And I'm like, got it. I swear I'm like not the type of person at all to like make small talk with anyone on a plane. I feel like that's kind of just leave everyone the fuck alone. But I was in a mood, right? And I was like excited to get there. We're all on this like international fun flight. Like I want to talk to the people next to me. And then I turn behind me as we're all like seated and everyone's buckling their shit up. And there was a very attractive man who was a flight attendant on this plane who happened to be sitting literally on the seat, the jump seat, like right next to me, basically. And for the entire first 2 hours of that flight, we were chit-chatting. We fell in love. It was a magical moment. We had so much in common. It was like the movie had came true. Like we were talking about fucking everything, got really deep into conversation about fucking everything. He gave me anything that I wanted on that plane, which was fantastic. Like I got the free air, like everything you have to pay for on this plane, but he gave me free food and he like gave me a cupcake. He gave me waters, literally everything that I could ask for, headphones. It was great. I was loving life. I felt very catered to. It was just a moment. We got each other's information. I was gonna text him. I'm like, hey, I'm boarding this flight, like make sure you're working. And he texted me that he's in Uganda and like all these fucking cool pictures. Anyway, love at first sight was a thing on this plane. But here's the real kicker. My story did not end the same way. As I'm sitting in my seat, I've been talking enough. I'm ready to get some sleep. I need to be prepared and ready for the next day because it is a red eye and then we are hopping right into the streets and like fucking shit up in London. I'm asleep at this point. And I wake up on the floor in the back of the airplane with 7 people over me, hovering over me. And I have absolutely no idea how I got on the floor. Apparently, I had fainted. The last thing I remember is sitting in my seat, like kind of waking up slightly and being like, I do not feel good. Like I'm going to throw up. Seeing the bathroom sign that someone was in the bathroom at the time. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. Like, how am I going to get there? And then all I remember is waking up on the floor with Karen from Wales in my face. Like, what is your name? What is your name? Are you okay? And I'm like, this is rude. And you need to explain to me what the fuck just happened. Because I've fainted so much in the past. Like, this used to be a regular thing for me. I would just faint a lot. In that moment, it was really scary because I didn't remember a thing. Like, I would always remember, like, oh, I'm about to fainted. And then I would, like, remember getting up and whatever. But it was like, I literally blacked out that whole time. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but Karen was sitting right in front of me. She was a doctor. Her husband was a nurse, and they nursed me back to health. They were taking my blood sugar, pricked me, their heart monitor on the airline for some reason. This is a stethoscope. I had one person icing my neck, another person making me tea, another person feeding me water, like making me drink some water, another person just like calming me down. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, this is not the tea party that I had intended. Like, I wanted this to be in London. And Nico, if you remember from before in the story, came back and saw me on the floor. This Nico character is a fucking magician because every time he was quiet and every time we would look back, he was just fucking there. He was just mysteriously in our sphere. It was just the strangest thing. His seat was in the middle of the plane. The reason why he had came back was for the bathroom, but I'm confused because his bathroom section was not in the back of the plane. I don't know how he saw me all the way in the back of the plane. So he went and got my friend, and my friend came over and she's like, what the fuck is going on? Meanwhile, she didn't know that I had this whole love story going on. He, my guy, my flight attendant, had been on the second floor of the airplane sleeping, resting up. I didn't know that they had a whole second floor where the flight attendants slept. He came down and I was on the floor at the time and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And then this man proceeds to give me a little back rub, like, are you okay? Like, are you all right? And my friend's just looking like, what the fuck did I just miss? He wheeled me off of the airplane on a wheelchair. And then I got through airport security, customs, 5,000% quicker than I would have because they just wheeled me in and just got to skip the whole line. So that's fantastic. I saw that movie and I was like, okay, this is like crazy because I just experienced this. And then I'm like, you know what? My life is a fucking movie. My life is a rom-com. And I'm hoping that when I go back to London, it is full rom-com central. Like, I need this to be a story. I need this to be the plot of where things really take a turn in my life. And I'm going to make sure that that happens. I feel like I'm forcing myself so far out of my comfort zone when I'm in London. I want to like spruce up the podcast. If I can make it work, I'm going to see if I can have people from London on my podcast. I kind of want to film in a studio low key. If I can make that happen, I want it to be a whole like vibe. Like, this is where things are about to fucking go off. Also, have not really been posting at all on like TikTok, Instagram very much, but I definitely want to get back into that and like be a little bit more consistent. I'm really just hoping that this like makes my life a little bit more exciting. I just feel very complacent and like stuck in where I'm at right now. So I will have things to report back on. Okay. But back at it again. Today we're talking about dating down and settling as a woman. Why women date down. And what does it even mean to date down? I feel like everyone has their own interpretation of what dating down really means. But truthfully, I think what it comes down to is that dating down, you're actually just settling for whatever, like settling in any category. That can be like the surface level stuff, like the finances, looks, lifestyle. That could be like surface level shit. But I think that what really comes down to is like dating down when you know you have, I don't want to say that you're better than that person, but like you're more elevated than that person. Like, you have a lot more going on for yourself, like financially, spiritually. You just know who you are, sure of yourself. You have that a lot of times we see couples together where there will be like a super hot girl with like a mediocre guy, and like, oh, why is she dating down? Like, does that mean that she's not confident? Or I'm going to kind of walk through each and every section of where you can be settling and what settling actually means. Settling for me would be you're settling on your morals, your values. You're settling on how that person treats you, what they have to offer you. Those, to me, that's what settling is. But I don't think that like if I were to date a really unattractive guy, just a mediocre kind of guy, I don't think that I would technically be dating down if and only if he had a lot to offer me, like in the sense of like he was a super great guy, he did a lot for me, he made my life easier, he treated me like fucking gold. I would not consider that for me to be settling, but we all have different ideas of what that looks like. When though, here's the caveat to like dating down in terms of looks, is that when I date a guy who maybe isn't the best looking, one of two things could happen. If you're going into it with the mindset of I'm dating this guy because he's medium ugly or he's ugly, because of that, I am not competing with anyone else. He doesn't have anywhere to look. I'm winning here because it's safe and I feel comfortable. If you're going into it with that mindset, I think that you're going to lose every single time. If you're going into it with the mindset of like, maybe he's not the most attractive, but how is he actually treating me? Is he treating me like fucking gold and it's consistent and he really wants to make this work because he sees me as a prize and he's putting me on the pedestal of like, this is it and you are my girl and whatever. If that's the case, then I don't see that situation losing at all. That is the ideal situation of what I want to be in. Here's the thing that happens. When you go into a relationship knowing that he is medium ugly or maybe not the best looking, you're going into it with the intention of like, it feels safe here and I know that he doesn't have a lot of competition, so I'm going to lock this down because I want to be in a relationship. If you are going into it like that, I think what ends up happening is that women around are like, wait a minute, this guy just got a girl that's on your level. Like, that's what, like, please explain this to me. like a Pete Davidson, I like to use the example. He dates fucking beautiful women. And to be honest, he's like medium ugly at best. And I think that once people are like, oh, well, he was with Ariana Grande and Kim Kardashian and whoever the fuck else he dated, it's like that makes him so much more attractive. Whereas if he was just dating like mediocre Sally next door, no one would like really be buzzing about him. I feel like the fact that he has these beautiful women around him that he has locked down in the past, it's like his value immediately has shot up because everyone else is curious on how he was able to lock those women down. So it's like, oh, well, she sees him attractive, so maybe I see him attractive too. So I think you end up fucking yourself if you go into it with that mindset of it's safe here, because it may not be safe there. It may be you're boosting his resume, so now he looks great on paper to everyone else. And in that regard, the guy that was not getting attention prior to dating you is now getting significant attention. And he feels like if he does not have that self-control or he does not have that loyalty to you, he's going to explore his other options because he's never gotten this type of attention before you. But again, if you go into it with the opposite, where, you know, you just are dating a guy because he's ugly, but he also like, he kind of just like warmed up on you on this, in the sense of like, you know, he really is like pouring in effort to make my life easier, to make me happier, he's also like someone that can kind of grow on me looks wise. I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I feel like the guys that I have been attracted to recently maybe aren't like the best looking, but truthfully, they have been treating me really good. And I like this. Like, this is nice. It's nice to be like catered to and wanted to like make, going from the guy that like I spoke about in my last podcast and him not pouring any effort, like not really doing anything for me. Going from that to now, it's just only been a few days, so I'm not gonna like jinx it or whatever. I shouldn't even be talking about it. But the fact that it's only been a few days in London as well, he has like, okay, well, I want to make this trip for you like really good. I want you to be like, I want you to remember London. I want you to like have the best time, so you want to stay. And like, hopefully, like, he's like, I'm gonna take you here and here. And he's like, what would I do if I was like, very much thinking about the whole picture, like wanting to make me happy and like make me experience London to the fullest. And I just didn't get that from the last one. So it's nice going from that to that. The only reason, and I think that like looks wise, as far as women go, dating guys that are a little bit uglier, you know why that model is with that 6 out of 10 is because he treated her like fucking gold. He has a personality that won her over. We settle in the looks all fucking day. Who the fuck cares what your man looks like? I almost think it's like hotter when he doesn't look the best, because it's like he must really treat her well. And if he doesn't, then you're fucking settling. Because who wants to be with a guy who does not treat you well and he's ugly? Like, what are you doing? That we need to snap some sense into you. Hit the link in my bio because I've been there. And like, after you get out of it, it's like, what the fuck spell did you have me under to where this medium ugly at best mid guy had me under this, I'm obsessed, why is this not working? He didn't treat you well and he's ugly. We've got to make some changes here because this is just not acceptable at all. I think it's easy for women to compromise in the sense of looks. And I think that the guy that's hotter than you, I this year was talking to a guy who was way hotter than me, if I'm being honest. He was a fucking 10 out of 10 in the looks category. He was beautiful. But here's the thing. It's like, he's the one getting all the attention. He's the one where it looks like he's like settling for you. And it's like, first of all, I'm fucking beautiful and I believe that. I know that. But next to this guy, it's like I don't want people to look at him and be like, why are you with that? No fucking way. I am the prize. Let's remember this. And I think when you date a guy that's hot or hotter than you, usually lacks in every other area in life, whether it be finances, whether it be personality, whether it be what he wants to pour into you, whether it be loyalty. he has so many other options, and he's using his looks to his advantage. He knows that he's fucking hot, and he's going to capitalize on that. He's going to, yes, maybe he wants a relationship. I don't want to, stereotype everyone and put everyone into a box, but typically the guys that are really attractive, and I found this a lot, especially on dating apps, it's more obvious because you're talking to like a handful of people. The guys that I'll match with that are much hotter have zero game. Conversations are like, hey, how are you? What's up? What are you doing? Can we like move it past that? It never gets past that point because they don't feel like they have to put in effort, because women are chasing after them constantly. Women are giving them attention. So if they're getting all that already, they don't think that they have to work for it. The guys that are not that attractive, they have to overcompromise in other areas in life because of like, okay, well, you can't be ugly and treat her like shit and, lack all of the resources. Like, what woman is going to want to be with you? You have nothing to offer her. Or a personality. Like, honestly, it could be anything, but you have to make up for it in a different way, which is usually the ways that of which a woman wants to be taken care of anyway. So stop going for the 10 out of 10 guy who like isn't going to treat you like the queen that you are. Like, that to me is settling. Yes, okay, maybe you're with a hot guy, but that, first of all, his looks are going to fade. You're going to get older, and then you're going to be with this person who doesn't treat you right. You're going to question your worth. You're going to probably more likely than not be jealous in the relationship. He may or may not cheat on you. The loyalty is questionable. Don't put yourself in that situation. Like, be with a guy is like, wow, I fucking bagged like the baddest girl, or like, I'm so proud to be with this girl. In any sense. To me, dating down, we've talked about the looks, so let's move in now to financial aspect of it. I think with finances, if you are a woman who is like really doing well for herself, you have to understand that the dating pool is significantly lower. If obviously you want someone to be making more than you and be the provider in the relationship. Otherwise, you have to understand what is important to you. Is it that you just want him to keep up with you? Like, I think that it's okay and valid to want the things that you want. The more that you make as a woman, amount of options that you actually have in men, if you want to date at your equal level or more, the amount of options does go down. Just because it goes down, that does not mean that you have to settle. Be the fucking queen, boss bitch that you are, and live your truth, but also know like when you should compromise. The guy that is also making more than you, the guy that is also equal or more than you, has a lot of options because of his resources. And unfortunately, it doesn't work both ways, in the sense that like, oh, he's attracted to you because of the money. You're probably going to be attracting the wrong type of person who will want a sugar mama. It really just comes down to is, what is it that is important to you, and why is it important that he's making more than you if you're making a significant amount? And then you also have to be in understanding that it may take a little bit longer for you to find the one if that's a requirement for you. Aside from money, I've done so many episodes on like finances and whatever, so I don't want to get too far into that, but I really think what it comes down to is values. And I will always say this, values need to be matching up. The only thing that really is dating down for me anyway, and you obviously can have your own opinions here, but I really think that the only thing that really constitutes as dating down is you guys are not on the same level in terms of like, that you respect yourself, you're that bitch, and like you have a lot to offer and he has nothing to offer you, and you decide to settle. I think that women settle all the time because we have a biological time clock, because we want to be in relationships so bad. Some of us, not all of us, but I think that it puts us in situations where we do settle or we date down because we're like, okay, well, I'll pick the next guy that, gives me any type of attention. And I think that you're shooting yourself in the foot, because yes, you don't want to be dating fucking everyone that life has to offer, but you also don't want to settle at the very first person that likes you or shows you a little bit of attention, because you really could be missing out on the best opportunity for you. And again, I'm not saying this to the people that have dated around, and I think a lot of times we get into situations where we have so many options, we have so much going for us, and so many options that like it's hard for us to choose because we feel like we are settling or we're dating down. We're aligned on the same values. We want the same things. We want the same kind of lifestyle. He provides for you. He makes you feel safe. He makes your body feel safe. You can talk to him about everything. But maybe, you know, he's not the best looking. I have all these other really hot guys that are coming towards me and all these other options, but really those hot guys aren't really necessarily an option. And I think that's where a lot of women get mixed up, is we feel like we have all these options, and just because that guy is maybe a little less attractive than what you're used to dating, in dating, that doesn't even mean that they are willing to take you seriously in a relationship. And I think that we get that mixed up in thinking that we have a lot more options than we actually do. Just because they took you on a date, or just because they probably just wanted to fuck or whatever, that doesn't mean that you had an amazing connection or that they treated you well than this guy that maybe is a little less attractive. It doesn't mean that you're settling or dating down. The only way that you can be dating down is if you really are marking a lot of boxes and he doesn't do anything for you. Throw away all of the superficial bullshit. What are you settling for in terms of, you know, lifestyle or values, or those type of big picture things are really what matters at the end of the day. I don't think that if you're dating an ugly guy or you're dating someone that maybe doesn't have a lot of funds, that you're necessarily dating down. But to get you a guy that cares about you, that will go to the end of the earth with you, that listens to you, makes you feel seen, makes you feel heard. These are the things that matter. In any other situation, I do not think that dating down really is equivalent or matters at all. Don't let society also put pressure on you to pick the very first person that comes your way that shows you attention, because honestly, there's probably so many other available options, and if you're choosing too soon, you're probably going to overlook those other options. All right, that is it for this week's episode. I will see you all next Tuesday. And if you could please hit that 5-star rating, turn on your bell notifications if you're watching this on YouTube. And then if you're watching this on any other platform, hit that subscribe button, the follow button, follow me on TikTok, Instagram at respectfullygabby. And I will see you all next week.